Okay, so this is my analysis in a way of some idents I looked at just for inspiration and some thoughts for my own ident and logo that I'm going to create. So in this recording, I'm looking at the IFC, Film4, and Sony and Columbia Pictures. So first we'll start off with IFC. So for IFC films, they don't have a set ident. They incorporate their title into the footage of the film that's been shown at the start. They normally have a block font style used regularly in their trailers. I really like the design and the use of the title in the trailer, The Hallow. The Hallow is a horror film, and I made the title flicker and have a daunting faded effect to the text, making it fit into the setting of the film genre. And this really entices the audience. When I look at the Darkness Rising trailer, that was also produced by IFC Midnight, I noticed that the title of the company was presented virtually in the same way as the Hollow, and well, it was only apart from a few adjustments, but it was basically the same. This, I believe, is due to the fact that they're both horror films, but they both still have a sense of uniqueness to it. This style of ident is something personally I find an interest and influence in, and I really like the way it works in with the trailer. So it does feel really nice and smooth, and looking at the ident with the trailer, it does really fit in and entices the audience. Having a style ident for each film they produce can show they are constantly developing and have great creative minds. Also keeps freshness to the ident since the font and colours are basic. So it's also normally red and white. Having different styles of presentation of the ident slash title in each trailer means that they produce a wide range of films with different concepts and narratives. In their logo, we get the regular white and red colours, which are good mixed together because they're vibrant and eye catching and work well off each other. I really like this ident and title because it's very simple, but they change the way they present their logo in each film they produce so it suits the scene, as I said, and also so it suits the style and genre of the film. So it engages the audience, and the audience then shall know what can sense what type of genre the film is as well. To a wide audience, a logo, an ident like this may not be as appealing as other idents like Disney or Warner's because they have a lot of CGI and use a lot of effects, and it grabs the audience's attention straight away with a vigorous way because the mix of bright colours and a strong feel to the ident, but they have a much larger budget than IFC will have because they are a world-renowned film company. Doing idents like this, so the IFC ident, they're much more achievable because of the simplicity and the effectiveness, because they'll most likely use software like Adobe After Effects, and I have that on my computer, so I'm able to access that type of software and use it. So I would say that this isn't my favorite ident, but it's one that has a lot of influence, and it's a great one to look at and explore into an experiment as well, through inspiration. Looking at the way they produce the logo and incorporate it into the trailer of the Hallow, it gives me inspiration and thoughts on how I choose to design and produce my logo, even though the genre isn't the same. So there's more of a link personally with my type of style in how I would want the ident to be, because I like stuff that's very quick with nice effects, maybe some opacity with some overlays as well, and having shakes where the camera shakes and where it generally catches audience eye, and you can't keep your eyes off it just because of what's going on can confuse you, or just be really eye catching due to the colours. So yeah, overall, I would say that it does have a heavy influence on me, and it has made me ready to think of some ideas by looking at it. Moving on to Film4. Film4 is one of the most unique and creative idents, I'd say, because they use natural environments with additional, obviously, CGI and After Effects. Film4 doesn't have a set ident, and definitely doesn't have a set ident for the genre type of film to keep a uniqueness and curiosity to feel to the company and the audience as well. The the same company uses natural environments and the addition of CGI for idents in the main program Channel 4, where they present a graphic of the number 4 in a unique way depending on the environment. They use colours that are very strong and rich, and it grabs your eyes with additional some props in the scenes that you may not expect. Definitely in they you may not expect, but definitely engages the audience. Also, they have their title in the same style, font, and colour in the middle of the screen, with it moving with the pace of the footage, creating a fast pace effect, or it could be slow paced as well. I really like their ideas, especially the hallway on fire, where you have a normal hallway at first, and then the repeating scene, and where it's going down floor by floor at a rapid pace, and then you start to see objects and the floors start to set alight. The repeating scene effect in most of the idents they create, and then one of the idents they create a ditch in the floor so the camera could go into it and then come back out. So midway through filming, and which is a really creative and a good thought process idea. Also, I like the wheel on fire ident. We're looking up to the ceiling of the woods as well. They bring different perspectives and some reality, and having these unusual idents which don't have an exact link, it shows their creations are even better. Also, by having idents are really simple with the addition of some bright thinking of using CGI, they're really innovative and appealing due to its standout look. Creating these, I believe, won't have much of a high cost in comparison to idents like Disney in 21st century. This is also using less CGI, and the environments they shoot in probably were just natural environments where they didn't really have to pay, or sometimes they may have had to, but it may not have been at a high cost. The ident in the hallway of the hotel, it was the Grand Hotel in Brighton, may have cost a little amount or would have just needed approval. With them keeping costs down in this sector, it means that they have more money available in the long term in other areas of the film, where they possibly may need to use CGI or specific equipment like cameras, cranes, green screens, or even costume or props. From 2015, they had 16 idents that they produced, which is really good because it shows that they have a small amount of idents, but they use them across a wide range just because of how good they are and probably the reviews they've had from before. I really like the idents they create because of the natural scenes used, showing that they can produce things without abusing post production. They also had to use post production because of the use of green screens to eliminate stuff like people who may have been holding objects that we see floating. These type of innovative ideas are especially reflected in films they produce, with them getting many awards for films like Ex Machina, Mad Max, Amy, which is a documentary about Amy Winehouse, even though Ex Machina uses a lot of CGI, they try to keep to 3 shots per scene, which keeps costs down, and they plan deeply with the CGI of Ava, so they won't have issues occurring in the actual manufacture of the costume when they were editing. Idents like these would be fun and exciting to create, but also very challenging at the same time. But I know that we may not be able to create something at the same quality, but it is great to witness this and actually look at it because it gives us time to consider and experiment with a simplified version. So the last ident we're looking at is Sony and Columbia Pictures. So Sony and Columbia Pictures, they've Sony have owned Columbia Pictures from 1989. Since they had the option to do something like this, it was obviously a clear thing to do by working together. So this ident is I think it's very simple, with a black screen at first, with the slow emergence of the silver-coloured Sony title. So it shows as a whole brand that they've worked on this in other sectors as well, with advertisement and stuff like that. And it's in the center in a block style text at a large size to capture the audience's attention, with a glare just behind the O, making the rest of the words start to bright up, giving it more of a presence on the screen. Once we can see the whole word, which has a tint of a blue glare, it moves behind the O. The glare moves behind the O, and once it does that, the typography turns to pure white, with the typical Sony. At this point, the the screen zooms into the Sony word with the color changing, presenting that there's more to come for the ident just already. At this point, the ident is becoming more interesting because at first it's very simple and it wasn't really that interesting at all. But now yeah, the zoom goes through the O on Sony, and we presented with bright lights where we can detect any. So yeah, the zoom went right in, and then it zoomed out, so we can see the Columbia Pictures ident. It's interesting to see how the typography is presented here, because Columbia is in a rockstone style 3D font, which makes it stand out a lot, and the words are spaced out enough so they don't look cramped up. When you look at the bottom of the screen, you see a Sony company at the bottom, which is a much smaller size and a simple style font. And this was just so the audience know they are owned by that company, and that they probably worked on films before to show. But it also does show that Sony are a multimedia based company, so they don't just work on films, and it shows how much power they have in the media industry. Columbia Pictures, the ident is very clean at high standard, with vibrant colours and rich colours that stand out greatly, which entices the audience. The audience will see that by the basis of the ident. But also seeing just the name Sony in the ident, it creates awareness due to them being a worldwide brand, and implies that the film advertisement will also be high as well. Overall, I think the ident is at high quality, as I said, and I know that I wouldn't be able to replicate something like this due to these effects not being my main skill. But I can definitely take inspiration and definitely help me with a design and creation of my logo and ident.